Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and good morning to those that are in a different part of the world. My name's Kuret from Atomic. Delighted to be hosting the Unith webinar here today. With me, I have Unith Chair Sytze Voulon and VP of Product Rakan Sleiman joining us for the presentation today. CEO Idan is in transit, so won't be on this, but Rakan will be the star of the show today, talking us through the interFace platform, which has just been recently launched. So just a quick one on housekeeping. We will be taking some questions from attendees at the end of the session. So if you would like to ask a question, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. But you've heard enough from me. I'll hand over to Sytze just to give an intro before we hear from Rakan.
Yes, hi there all. I'll say good day because hopefully we have people from across the globe in different time zones. For most Australian attendees, of course, good afternoon, soon evening. For us here in Europe, it's still early morning. Excited to be here. A very warm welcome. When I say excited for two reasons. On the one hand, if you look at the past couple of months, you see the whole world of AI developing so fast, and the acceptance of people using AI instead of going through Google or Hey Siri. People are more and more using ChatGPT and learning what artificial intelligence can actually do. So from that perspective, it's always been the vision of Unith, but you really see that vision coming to life. On the other hand, excited because I think we're really at the right time with the right product, humanizing artificial intelligence. So focusing on this conversational AI is really something which is for us a key focus area, because it makes it more personal, because I think humans still connect through connections which are human connections, and they're not a piece of stuff that comes from ChatGPT. So excited. We did a soft launch earlier, now the launch of our platform interface. That's the key focus of today, taking you through the platform, and for that, Rakan is definitely the person to guide you through it. And with that, I'm happy to hand over to Rakan. Rakan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sytze. Hello, everyone. Eric, let me know if you see my screen.
We do, Rakan.
So I will start this presentation actually using just a few slides just to set the scene and almost restate some of the stuff that Sytze just said. So I'll do a very brief overview. I'll whiz through these, just reminding everybody really what are digital humans and why we believe that they're very valuable. The bulk of this presentation will be a live demonstration where I will do a very thorough walkthrough of interFace, which I'm sure many of you have seen. We launched on Monday very successfully. And then, of course, we will leave time to take as many questions as it relates to interFace or anything about our product in general. Sytze touched on this. I think one of the messages that I've always pushed very hard internally is humans, we are hardwired to see and engage with other human faces. The first thing a human sees when they're born is a face. Most of the time, one of the last things that they see is also a face of a loved one. Sytze has spoken about the fact that the whole world is adopting AI, and we really believe that putting this human face on top of AI leaves an element of personalization that will ultimately improve the way your audiences, your customers are engaging with your own AI solutions that you are building. With that, the digital humans that we create, and many of you would have seen this already, but I'll reiterate this throughout the presentation, they're completely AI generated. What do I mean by that? The way the face is synthesized is generative, so it's being generated fully by machine learning and AI. The way the voices are being generated by AI, completely synthesized. And then the whole conversational interactions that you have with a digital human, again, are generated by AI. So we're really doubling down on this, like they are AI powered in their entirety. You will see this. I will try and emphasize this also as I go through the products. Our faces at least our what we call like productized faces, the faces that we own, that you get access to when you buy our platform or when our customers buy our platform, are realistic human faces. What does this mean? This means we brought these people, they're actual real people that we work with, that we brought into our studio, that we filmed them. And a lot of feedback that we get is that your digital humans actually look like real humans. And that's because they are built on the basis of them being real humans. And then we absolutely appreciate that the one size fits all, especially in an environment where people are still figuring out what they're trying to do with AI in many ways, that a one size fits all is very difficult. So we want our digital humans to be completely customizable and personalizable to some degree. And that's a lot actually what interFace allows our customers, or will allow our customers, to do. Finally, if you think about digital humans, ultimately, like, you can have one, you can have 5, you can have 100 of them. You could deploy them at scale, each one to do one or more than one or many tasks. So we look at these as a very much a tool for which you can use to scale the way you communicate and engage with your audience. They speak, you will see this when I go through the product demonstration. Many of you seen this already, but you can pick and choose the language that you want them to speak to. Why is that important? Because the way people sound is a way that is something that you can use to build trust. We have, I always use the example of an American prospect that we were speaking to that always wants a British accent because they feel that the British accent actually works better for the American audience. You have people working in India that want an Indian English accent to represent the voice of their customer service digital human that they're thinking about. Once they are created through the Unith platform, they're available 24/7 unless you don't want them to be available. So you'll see an interface as an active and inactive. You could switch it off whenever you want. We think that this is one of the big value propositions because real employees, like such as many of us, are very expensive resources. You can supplement them by a digital human that's available at any point in time. This is something we are still figuring out all of the different places you can take a digital human, but by and large, the way we've built it means that you can take this asset, this web asset that exists through a simple URL. You could put it in a mobile phone app that you're building. You could put it in an iPhone, in an iPad as a full screen like device for people to engage with. You could put it in a kiosk. You can embed it seamlessly in whichever platform that you want. One of the things that I really do believe sets us apart is it's simple to create. Like, I will show a very short video of like getting started just because I'm running out of emails for registering as free users on the platform. But from registration to creating the first like value-adding digital human that you might have is between 2 and a 5-minute process. It's very quick to get started. And then through interface, you can manage it. I always say this, while it's very quick to get started, that doesn't necessarily mean that's the digital human that you go and you publish and you have the whole world to work with, because you probably need to iterate on it, fine-tune it based on what the objective is, what the goal is of this digital human that you're effectively employing. I think I've spoken about this in the last one. We know, especially when you go to large enterprises, they're already building conversational AI solutions. So like they're already creating their own like what looks like ChatGPT, but it's not ChatGPT interface that you can ask questions about their data, etc. Most of the time, they're not doing it using OpenAI or ChatGPT. They're building their own, literally their own large language model, or using open source ones like the one Meta, the Llama models from Meta. we, from our perspective, have made the platform modular, so you could pull out parts of our platform and replace it with let's say existing chatbots or existing LLMs that have existed. That's the last bit of slides that I have on setting the scene. Hopefully everybody is already aware, thinking of the fact that the platform is actually made up of two, and I'll introduce a third one if people don't think about it. But there's one bit that's around the creation and management of the digital human, like just generating it. Then there's the other one of actually putting it inside an application and then interacting with it. And then finally, and we reserve this really for businesses that we're working with. So like, let's say if you go through our free tier and you sign up for a professional license or something like that, this is not something that we would do. And we actually will add like value-added services from customer success that will help our customers interpret this. And what this is basically, I want to know what people are talking to my digital human about, right? Like, what are the things that my audience are interested in that I'm perhaps not even thinking about? So it's kind of just exposing conversational insights to our customers about their own customers. With that, I will restate, just in case people have joined a little bit late. We launched a product called interFace. We launched it on Monday. Everything has been very positive. I would put the brackets, a successful launch. And what I will do from here is I will go through and there's a click thing here, because part of like what we're trying to do is get as many people to actually register on the platform so we can get a lot of feedback. This link will be here. So when you guys get this deck, you can click on it and you can go. I'm actually not going to go straight into interFace. Eric, let me know if you see our website. Yep. I wanted to just touch on a few different channels in which we're driving traffic to interFace going forward. So like with the launch, we did a few things subtly. These were like, it's funny, we do this big thing called a launch, but at the end of it, it's just pressing a button and republishing a website and like sending an email that says this thing is now available and this is how you access it. But some of the things that we changed, all users all prospects, anybody that comes across Unith will see at the top that we've launched something new. This thing is a self-service platform. We call it interFace, and you can get started for free. And if they click this, they'll go right into the application and can start using it. I'm going to move our faces because they're covering the things. We've also just done a bit of a refresh on some of the messaging on our website, and there's very much, you will see this come across in different parts of our website, but there's very much a clear call to action for engaging with our team, with our sales team, so that we can understand how we can help businesses make the most of interFace when they get started. So you'll see there's like a slight switch from us being more focused on pure product to focusing as well on commercializing this product. And there's one more thing that I like to call out. We have to remember interFace is a creative tool, right? So it's something there that helps like the creatives create very interesting experiences for their audiences. With that, it's built for a desktop experience. It's not built for a mobile experience. So like if I bring this all the way down and like, let's say somebody comes on a mobile device, you'll see part of my screen, I hope, because they're looking at it from a mobile device, we're not really going to drive them there just because we know the experience is not perfectly set up for you trying to create a digital human on your phone. The phone experience is intended for speaking with a digital human after you've created it. A few subtle things, and this is how I will use to try and set the scene for the demo that I'm going to do in a second. We've made a few changes to the product page. The product page is the second most popular page that people come to on our website. It's on par with the landing page, which is interesting. But you will see that we clearly call out 3 different products. And just for people to be aware, like think of it as like behind the scenes, we have people that think about interFace and build interFace. interface, as I'll mention again, is got its own dedicated persona, right? Its own target persona. And this target persona is a creative person, is not a technical person. They understand their customers and they want to make beautiful experiences for them. Then we have API, which targets a different persona, right? These are like technical personas that want to create tools for the creative people, right? So like they may want to enable the creative person to leverage another large language model rather than OpenAI's ChatGPT, something along those lines. So we have a whole documentation site that's built on this. And if you come here, it's in dark mode. It's sometimes how I like to read content. But the documentation around the API is very extensive. It's also environmentally friendly, so they say. The interface, and then just as an FYI, with the launch, and I do want to call out a lot of this stuff, we also appreciate that, like, we can't be everywhere at any given time, us as people in Unith. So we want to create documentation that basically allows our users, I'll convert this back to a light one just so the interface logo comes there, just so that our users don't need us if they got any questions about how do they actually use interface. We have a nice demo, we have great documentation in here. It's pretty sophisticated and covers everything that we need, we believe. However, we've had some feedback, and that feedback has been, instead of having this as a video, which is just an onboarding video incidentally created with a digital human, why wouldn't we put a digital human here? So that instead of going through this documentation, we actually ask the digital human, like, how do I create a text to video or whatever, like a digital human, how do I create video content? And you have an interactive conversation with it. That's absolutely possible. And that's kind of the demo flow that I'll show. Like, how would you go about creating that kind of digital human to put in here? And then finally, we have the chat interface, the interface where you actually speak to the digital human. And this has another different persona. The target user of this is not actually our customers. It's our customer's customer. These are the people that speak to the digital human. And we put a little try it out here, and people can come and see what our interface looks like by speaking with Zoe on our website. Zoe, by the way, has had over, I'm sure it's over 14,500 the last time we checked, conversations of people that have actually spoken with her, which is great for us because we can see the kinds of things people are asking digital humans about, and it lets us guide our customers on how they can think about using digital humans. And it's also, if you see, very seamlessly embedded in our website. Okay, with that, I would like to introduce you to interFace. It's accessible via app.unith.ai. Some things that I would like to call out that tie back into the presentation that I showed earlier, some messages that we want people to take away. First, interface. So for those of you who've been following us for a while, it used to be like internally labeled customer panel. That internal label went out. We never wanted it to be customer panel because this is an application for our customers, right? So as they're using it, it's got to mean something to them. They're not thinking about it as a customer panel. They are the user. The label, the name interface very much aligns with our branding from a company design and brand perspective. It's got the word face in it, which as I start the presentation, I emphasize is like for us, one of the key beliefs that we have, that the face is such an important attribute to engaging with these kinds of solutions. And it's got inter because we know that we can create and leverage lots of different digital humans that depend on many different faces. The background image emphasizes, this background video doubles down on the fact that we are working with real humans behind all of this. And the personal touch is super important for us. Okay. This is my pseudo stage name. When I was a kid, I grew up with a surname called Sleiman for all sorts of reasons. My real surname is Sleiman. But I still use this when I create test users and with all sorts of accounts. I'm signed in here as somebody who's already upgraded, gone through the free process, upgraded, and now has all the bells and whistles available to me. What I'm going to do is share a very short video of, let's try this. How do I do this? 1 second. One second. Quick time player. Okay. You should see this. Eric, yeah?
Yep, we got it.
Perfect. This is a short video. You'll see it's 2 seconds long. It's 2 minutes long. I'll play it twice the speed, so it goes pretty quickly. This is just going through like what are your typical user would see when they come to interface and they haven't actually logged in, because this is part of what we've launched, right? Like people can come and sign up and get using this thing for free, and it's going to take them no time at all. So here you'll see I come in, I put my email address, I say I'm not a robot, I hit go. I could have signed in with Google if I wanted to. I'm almost there. Go to your email, click on an authentication link. You come, it's going too fast. You come here, you fill in your details. So you click the email from you click the sign up link from your email. You come back here, you give us some information about you. You agree to our terms and conditions. You go forward, you create your account. But given that we are giving a lot away for free, we want something in return. So free users actually have to go through this process of letting us know, like, what do they want to use this thing for? So we start to capture data. We start to say like, okay, somebody wants this just to create internal training videos. That's interesting. They work in technology. Who do they want to use it for themselves, for their clients? So it starts to give us a good picture, and I can tell you, are digesting all of this information right now. But this is the like sign up process for the freemium. Business come to us directly. We won't go through this because we've already understood everything about their requirements. Here they're signing up. Here I'm signing up. I get logged in. It says your account's been created. And then I can create a digital human. I wanted to create training videos. I will call out a couple of things here just very quickly. What you see on the screen is just 2 digital humans, right? So this is one of the freemium things that we're doing that says like you get a lot for free, but we are also but we want people to see enough value that they're willing to upgrade. So they can create a digital human. They can go through the voice library, as I'll mention earlier. And then they can, one thing that I was going to show, and then there's a quick, just subtle call to action that's saying like, hey, if you want to access the full face library that we have and some other features, go through this. And when they go through this, there's a billing mechanism already built within the application. I would encourage anybody to go through this, sign up, and then they'll unlock the other faces. And then they go, this is the free user. The free user goes in, and then he's just like, hey, I want to create a video. This is pretty cool, empowering reusable training videos. Hit generate, and that's pretty much it. The video is generated. The user has got value inside a couple of minutes of signing up, creating a piece of video asset that would have taken them like more time if they wanted to record themselves, for example, sending that stuff. So the time to value is very little. I will stop sharing and go back in now to the actual product. Desktop 2, share. We're back here. This is me. So I've now imagined that I've gone through and I've upgraded. You will see that it knows that I've come back because I've already created other digital humans, which I'll show in a second. Another thing that I want to emphasize is, again, we're a relatively small team, and we need to be clever in the way we capture feedback, how we capture issues. We have a leave feedback mechanism built within it so that if anybody has a problem, they could put it directly in there, and we're monitoring that, and then we can basically act on that. The create digital human is typically the thing we want people to think about, the very first thing that they do. I'm going to give you guys, as I go through this, insights that we've been getting, just because it's interesting to think about. Like part of the launch, I should have mentioned this earlier, I have it in my notes. Part of what we did when we launched this was embed like user analytics little packages behind it. So we know which pages people are going to in this app. We know whether they're getting enticed and trying to create videos versus trying to create conversational digital humans. We have heat maps of like where users are doing what in the screen. Why is that important for us? Because we can become very informed in all future decisions that we take as it pertains to building out this application better. Conversational digital human. This is what we believe is our strong point, the thing that really differentiates us in the market. You can go in, you can create a digital human in just, you'll see this message is in 5 clicks. It's 5 steps. The name, let's call, I know we can see, I think I'm going to call him Daniel. Every digital human, of course, needs a name. Many of you would have seen this already. I hope that when I show the voice mechanism here, so we have huge list of languages, huge lists of accents. So you could see there's Indian, English accents that you can go through. British accents, these are the female voices. You could switch it to a male voice because I'm going to make Daniel a guy that's going to be the person that's going to go on our support, on our documentation site. We go back to that story. And then I can listen to some voices.
Rome wasn't built in a day, and great achievements take time, patience, and...
So I can listen to it. These voices are synthesized. Didn't click that well. True.
Knowledge is power, but it is also a responsibility to use.
And you can go, I know these voices like the back of my hand. I like narration. Jarvis, we typically like a lot of the times the narration voices when it comes, the voices that are labeled narration, because they're typically they more explain concepts to people. We've seen from the data that this voice model is actually something that people spend quite a lot of time playing with. They actually enjoy listening to new voices and thinking through how does this align with the persona that they're trying to create. The front end, like when you speak to a digital human, you can actually change the front end language so that it's not in English. You could make it like an Arabic so that all the text that you see in the application itself will be in Arabic or in Spanish or in whatever language that you want. We can change that. I'll keep everything in English. Speech recognition, this is like the primary language that it's tuned to listen to. So if I try and speak to this digital human in Spanish, because while I've configured it in English, it will not understand it as well as if we said it in English, which is why we want this to be one of the things people really think about when they are building their digital human. And then I've unlocked the faces. I've got a business account, and we can toggle through them. We can see all the different faces that we have. This is the guy that we internally call him Hal. His real name is not actually Hal. We internally call him Hal. We think he looks like a Hal. We think he also looks like a customer support agent. So I'll go with this face. I will just show you a couple of other things. There's also a man in the past who looks very similar to me. He's available. He's in my library. The reason why I want to show that is more just because we have a concept of free head visuals, free faces. Maybe I didn't mention this before, but the free ones have a watermark around them, right? So there's like a very faint Unith logo around their faces. It's also got an AI generated by Unith on the right. The premium ones don't, so they have no logo. It lets our customers put their own logos behind it. And then you also have private head visuals. So this is only available to me. Like I'm not comfortable enough to have my digital human face externally. Maybe one day, but you can share this with your organization, right? And again, this is very, very powerful. Think you're a CEO. You want to be able to deliver personal messages to your staff every time they join the company. You send a message that's got your face, your voice cloned, just like, hi, it's going to be very difficult to meet you in person, but I would like to welcome you to my company. Boom. That video could be personalized to every single new employee that comes through. Going back, how I will click next, the next step. So the first step is all about like the look of the digital human, the name of the digital human, the way they sound. The next step is, what knowledge do we upload into their digital brains? And if I click here, interface knowledge, this is a knowledge base that's effectively generated from the documentation site that I created. So this document is basically being processed. We're uploading it. It's going literally into the brain of the digital human, if you like. And he is now understanding like everything in that documentation site. So when he's ready, I'll just take him, put him in the documentation site, and you can have a conversation with him. Next, like, how do you want this digital human to introduce themselves to the world? Hi there. I've written these down. Got any questions about interface? Right? This is a welcome message. This is the very first thing that they're gonna tell you. There's so much thought that goes into what this message is. Like, you walk into a physical shop today, like they don't introduce themselves. They don't say like, hey, I'm Daniel. We are Unith, and we do. They'll be very straight to the point. Like, can I help you choose a shoe? Like, just something very, very specific. So based on the objective of what you want this digital human to achieve, like, a lot of thought needs to go into how they introduce themselves. Maybe I talk too much about this, but again, this whole thing is about improving the engagement with your digital human. If they blurb a 50-word introductory thing to them, your users will probably close the chat before they even say hello to him. So you want to keep it kind of concise. We've analyzed the whole knowledge base that we've uploaded in that document. It's automatically like looked for topics. It's auto-generated the topics in here. What are these topics? These are guidance. These are things that it can be daunting. There's a digital human there saying, how can I help you? I have no idea where to start. I literally have no idea where to start. So we give some ideas, but most of the time, the reality is the user, I'm the product manager, if you like, or I own product in Unith. I want people to know certain things about interface. So I want to highlight things to them. So like, how do I create a text to video or text to talk videos, text to talk video, something like that. And then I add that. And this becomes something that people go, Unith are all about conversational digital humans, but they can also do text to talk videos. I didn't know that. How do I do that? How do I structure the knowledge base? How do I structure, I'm actually doing the typing here to structure the knowledge base. You add this, and then these become things that I can control pronunciations. These are things that I want to show you guys later. That's why I'm doing them. How do I control pronunciation? And then I add these. And then next step, the digital human is effectively deployed, right? So he's ready. This is an asset that I can go through, and I can actually have a full-on conversation with this digital human. The process is finished. I spoke a lot, but the process is finished. This person is ready now to be spoken with. But I'm not actually going to speak to him. I could open him. I could have a conversation. I'm not going to do that because I want to show a couple of things first. In the dashboard, you create a new digital human. They're available, right? They're like, they're there. Your whole library of them that you're making to solve different problems for your business are available to you. So you could build this out. This is one of the pricing drivers that you have. The more of these you have, the more like the more you can. Eric, I said I would be done in 35 hours, so it's going to go a bit longer. The more you can, the more business cases that you have, the more of these that you can create. And it's one of the pricing drivers, number of digital humans that you actually need. But I want to highlight, because while the creation flow is super easy, there is some more advanced stuff that you probably do need to think about. One, and this is super important. So and this is more on the advanced, I'll restate, more on the advanced side, and we're working on improving this user experience, but you can change how you want them to behave, right? So answer politely to greetings, maintain a polite and helpful tone in your responses. I will not actually type this. I'm going to change it just so that you see. And I actually want this digital human to know things like act as a representative for Unith, a company that recently launched a self-service platform called interFace. interFace allows, and you get the gist. It's there saying look, I want you to sound natural, like a human, don't make complicated jargon in your responses. So we start to give it a bunch of added insights for it to think about. Another thing, all responses should not exceed 30 words. In my opinion, and this is what we are seeing, 30 words, it's too short. They over summarize the responses and you don't get what you want. So typically we would do something like, let's make it 50 words. Given that I want them to explain how to do things on our product. That's it. You've changed that. That's done. So now the personality is almost changed. Pronunciation. We are called Unith, but you will be surprised how many AI generated voices don't know how to say the word Unith. Here you could put the word, and then you could put the way you want it to sound, and then you can listen.
Unith.
And it says Unith so beautifully, and you're happy. And then you could add another one, I'm not actually going to speak about Rakan, but you'd be surprised how many people say my name wrong. So I always show this. So I like the emphasis on the second part of the name. I haven't actually heard how Narration Jarvis says this.
Rakan.
Perfect. Bit on the posh side. That's it. So point being that you can start to fiddle. And why is this important? Because brand names, product names, so many times are very hard to pronounce, very, very hard to pronounce. And they're kind of nuanced. So you have full control over how you want it to actually pronounce stuff. That's there. The knowledge base, you've seen it. Let's say I, in the future, think, I want to update the way the welcome message. You could come in, you could change it. You can update the knowledge base. You can add new. You can add new suggestions that you want people to actually have a discussion about. That's pretty much it from a conversational standpoint. So that's the whole flow. You create the digital human. You probably refine it a little bit based on your needs. Oh, one more thing that I didn't show. So if I go back to him, and this, I can't believe I didn't mention this. These two little pieces of code, let's be honest, people are not going to drive people. Some people do, but by and large, a business is not going to want to send people to Unith to speak to their own digital human. They're going to want to take this asset that you see here, and they're going to want to put it in their own application, on their own website, in their own Apple, in their own mobile application, literally embed it there. This piece of code that you see here lets them do it. The top one is a bit complicated, but in simple, if you want to modify the way it looks and sound and edit the colors and stuff that you see on the interface, you use the top one. If you're happy with the way Unith colors, you just copy this, literally copy this piece of code, and you put it wherever you want, and people can engage with that digital human. And I won't do it now, but you guys will soon see on our documentation site this digital human in there, and people can ask questions about it. And that's finally it. This is what a Daniel would look like.
Hi there. Got any questions about interFace?
I typically do not like streaming these. It never comes across as well. Hi.
Hello. How can I assist you with interFace today?
You will see there's a bunch of suggestions that show up. What is interFace? Something like that.
interFace is a self-service platform by Unith that lets you create, customize, and deploy digital humans powered by advanced conversational AI. It's designed for ease of use and enables 24/7 communication in multiple languages. You can find detailed articles on planning, account setup, and more on the platform.
That's pretty cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. If you have any more questions or need assistance with interface, feel free to ask.
This asset can be taken and put anywhere you want. I'm wary of time, so I'm going to try and close this in 2 minutes. And just because we can do digital humans, video-based digital, like generating videos, I will share this guy. This is delivering a video content. It's been really nice talking to you. Could change this to whatever I want. The video creation thing is super simple. You just hit generate. It generates a video, and then you have the video.
It's been really nice talking to you.
And there it goes. So this becomes a piece of content that could sit on top of my own. If I had a conversational one, like when I go out, my dream is when I go on holiday, I create a version of me that my colleagues can speak to internally, and they'll come and speak to him. So that's kind of how I think I'll get some extra holiday in the coming year. Okay. I think I've touched all the key points that I wanted to touch on. We've got questions, and I'm happy to use these questions to answer anything that I might have missed.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Rakan, with the double A. It's a look into the future, wasn't it? Yeah, so thank you. And to those online, we've got 15 minutes of time for Q&A. There's a lot of questions coming through, so we'll try to speed through them as quick as we can. Just as I filter them, just a quick one. Rakan, maybe if you can just touch on any early feedback that you've had since the launch.
Feedback has been overwhelming. So I would stress this feedback comes from before the launch. Part of why we launched it when we did, like earlier, was because the feedback had been overwhelmingly good from a user perspective, that we actually felt it made no sense to keep it behind a wall, essentially, for people to access. So the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. The big thing is literally like it's so easy to set it, like it's so easy to get started. And that's been one of our like objectives as we've been building this. Like one of our product manager internally who owns this, he's like, it needs to be 5-year-old friendly. That's kind of like his motto for building this. So yeah, it's been overwhelmingly positive. We've had not one like support bug that's come through. We've had recommendations for things that we need to improve. The voice modal, I showed a little bit where you select the voices, is something people are saying that we should look to improve on. Right.
I'm assuming it's too early for this, but a question's just come through around conversion rates that from your clients that are using this, and have they seen any noticeable changes yet to conversion rates in terms of how they're engaging with their customers?
That's difficult. That's a difficult one. So like when I look at this, it goes back to the welcome message that I was saying. We see people playing a lot around with that welcome message, because what happens is there is like somebody sees a digital human, before they ask it a question, they close it, right? So this is something that we are now working to optimize, like what is the right welcome message, length of it, style of it for a given type of digital human that is more likely to get users to actually speak with it. But like I don't have any specific data on what it is. Apart from, I go back to what I said, like we are operating on a belief that it's at this stage it's a belief, but we want to get data behind it. That people don't like speaking to text. Like the chatbot thing that you see just doesn't really work. Like, and the fact that there's a human component in there, they're more likely to have conversations with it.
Yep, that makes sense. Questions come through, and can the digital heads communicate in different languages depending on the person who it's communicating with? That is, can it switch from English to Dutch with the next customer?
Yeah, there's a yes and a no there, huh? So that there's yes and no. If you type to it, so if you actually like ask the questions in whatever language you want, today, the product that we have today will respond in whatever language. So you can ask it in Spanish, it'll respond in Spanish. You ask it in English, it'll respond in English. The like speech recognition, as I showed earlier, like you've got to choose the speech recognition language. So you ask it, so it's like tuned for a language. So if you then start speaking to Dutch, it won't really pick it up that well. We are working to improve that. That's something that we know, again, it's one of these things that we know how to solve, but we don't feel we need to solve that right now. The way we advise our customers to solve that today, and there's some digital humans out there, is they look at the application the application that they're in, and if it's in English, there'll be an English digital human. If it's in French, there'll be a French digital human. Everything is the same, except that they're like a different entity. It's like trained in a different language. So it becomes one of those things that if you have 5 target markets, you probably would need 5 digital humans, one to support each one. They look the same, they've got the same name, they've got the same knowledge, everything is the same, but they're there. So the reason I said yes and no is because you can do it, but there's a bit of a cost to it that you need to buy 5 rather than buying just one.
Good business model.
Time
I might throw a question to Sytze. The questions come through. Can you please give us a glimpse into the not too distant future of Unith's digital humans? Where are we aiming to be in 12 months? And what are we doing for realism in the future? What can you tell us about to get us more excited?
It sounds like a simple question, but a slightly more complicated answer. But I'll try to keep it very short. I mean, our vision's always been that there's mega trends in society, not enough workforce available. But one of the mega trends was also technology. And as I said in my intro, technology is moving faster and faster. And for us, the key thing about it's not so much the technology in itself, but it's the acceptance of technology. So because we are basically normally in every business, you do customer fit. You look at what keeps customers awake at night, what makes customers happy, and you deliver a service for it. In this particular case, what we are doing is actually something that the average CEO, I saw one of the questions sort of, what do very large companies? Well, in very large companies, CEOs don't think out of the box. They stay within that box, but we are out of the box. So we're looking at the future. And I think it's very important for us because interface to us is a lot more than just interface, because interface is sort of having our potential clients prototyping their future and prototyping their needs. So Rakan already mentioned that we look at this very carefully as well and analyzing it. What is it actually? Where is this sweet spot? Is it in humanizing training? Is it in humanizing? A lot of questions are on sort of e-commerce. Is that a real trigger for us? And we've got an idea, but at the end of the day, it's the customer that speaks, because they choose a solution, but they're basically developing their own future. And interface is for us the perfect medium to actually have clients and potential clients develop their own thought process. Because when I talk to large businesses, they tell me they see immense opportunities, but we cannot do every opportunity because we simply don't have the means for it. So we want to focus on where, well, we get the biggest bang for the buck and develop a solution for, let's say, induction and training means that we have a sort of we create our own platform, because clients, and it's asked, oh, what do platforms do? But clients think differently on a platform. We are actually a platform within their platform, because their platform is a huge amount of systems and they try to make sense out of all the data they have. We're actually the interface to the outside world. We're the interface that makes it a human interface from their platform, and hence interface. So in the next 12 months, if I look at the traction we're getting now, the traction we got in the soft launch, now the traction we're seeing in the launch of interface now, sort of gives us so much information that very soon we'll be strategically looking at, okay, but these are real sweet spots for us. and we're going to deepen those to sort of accelerate our commercialization.
Thanks, Sytze. Maybe one for Rakan. There's actually quite a few questions coming through around the types of customers that are signing up. Quite a few people are asking around subscriber numbers. I think we won't be able to go into specifics around the number, but maybe any sort of early insights you can see where there's been a stronger uptake or interest level in terms of sector or target markets.
Two that are standing out like very, very clearly is e-learning. And the second one is kind of related to it, but like e-learning, there's, I don't know, I'm almost saying like between 30 and 40% of people are interested in e-learning. And then the other is corporate training, which again, as I say, it's kind of similar, but just ensuring that all employees within their business are very much like aligned on the latest corporate policies and whatnot. And then there's what's one thing that I have to say is stranger than we were expecting is, so like more people than we expected are going down the video creation route, right? It's significantly less than the conversation. I think the split is like 30-70, but almost like in our mind, you come to us because you want conversational digital humans. And we're getting a lot of people that are just creating video assets. So like that, the video of me saying, thanks for speaking, just creating those. And that's more or less on the content creation social media side. So like people wanting to just very quickly be able to create content and share it with the world. Yeah, so those are three that are standing out.
Excellent.
This is from users, huh? So this is actually those free users that are coming through.
Yep, makes sense. Just a couple of questions around the faces. How many faces does Unith aim to have available for the Pro version by December? And then also, when will a user be able to use their own face and voice, like we saw you have your own, Rakan?
There's also another one of me that I didn't show, which is me in phone position. It's there. If somebody rewatches it, they'll see it. It's me in the like portrait mode conversation in my office, which looks pretty messy. The reason for that, the reason that I mentioned that is that we are looking into how you can make it like truly anybody can upload their own. It's something we're thinking about. We have no timeline for when we'd open it. We have the tech, we have the capability of doing that. The reason we're not doing it is because if people don't really capture their input well enough, the training video that we get, they don't really capture right. It actually looks really bad. And we don't want our brand to be associated with like a quality. We have a minimum quality that we want to maintain. That said, right now, I always get this number wrong, but right now I think we have 12 faces and about 20 different combinations. So like different, so they're wearing, you'll see like some of them have a jacket, some don't, etc. So there's that. We don't have any plans between now and December to drastically increase that unless there is a need, right? If there is a need, we will increase it. And the need will typically come, but be driven by a business need more than anything else. But what I would say is, and this is ever evolving, I have to stress, in our pricing model, some tiers will qualify for new faces every X, right? And we were thinking every 1 or 2 months of adding those in.
Thanks, Rakan. A couple of questions here just around cost and scaling. So, you know, how expensive is it to manage the system now? And then obviously as you're scaling up users, you would assume that it becomes more expensive, and you obviously have got a lot of freemium users. So how do you manage that part of it? And you know, I guess, you know, you get to thousands plus subscribers. How you manage that?
I can use up the rest of the time to talk through this, so you need to manage my time, okay? The freemium users, we don't worry too much about. They have rate limits there, so if they go above a certain amount of conversations concurrently, they will be blocked. You'll see the digital human will say something like, I'm busy. I forget what it will say. It'll be like, I'm busy. Also, what drives usage is visibility. The free digital humans have unith watermarks on them, right? So people, and they're in our terms of use, they're not commercializable. So you can't actually publish them, right? You can use them, but you can't put it on your website. Nobody's going to want to put it on their website because it's not got their branding on it. It's got ours. And if they do that, they're advertising us for free, kind of thing. So like we don't see the usage being high, and it's capped. Our cost is pretty fixed. The most thing I can say is our cost is pretty fixed until we cross a threshold, and then it will grow. We're not yet at that threshold. We are about to launch the boring stuff, Infrastructure 2.0. I think about this a lot of the time. Infrastructure 2.0 will let us dynamically scale up and down depending on usage. But right now our costs are fixed. That's how I think about it.
Right. Just on you talked about the freemium users. Questions here about, is there an endpoint to the free entry level, in terms of capping the time that someone can have the freemium access to, or do you put a cap on the number of freemium users?
There is no cap. So at the moment, and I have to stress, the position we take today is not necessarily the position we'll take in the future. But for now, a user signs up, in 1 month, 2 month time, they will still have access and they can still go there. Their caps are based on rate limits, right? So they can have, I think, 50 conversations a month and like 15 videos that they can create a month. So they have like limits to keep them within our fixed cost. We are exploring, I would say this, we are exploring not a freemium model, but a trial model. And the trial model will be time-based. And then after the trial, they directly go into a subscription, right? So like they'll directly go into a paid-for subscription. We're exploring that. But it's early days. Like a lot of this stuff, like we've put our, I don't know how you say that, like stick in the sand. And we're monitoring and capturing as much data as we can.
Excellent. We are running out of time and there's still a lot of questions here. So I will tell attendees, if we don't get to your question, please feel free to email Unith either through the website or through Alfred. Questions. I've just lost my spot here now. Where am I? Oh, I mean, again, it's going to be too early to talk about any percentage of users that have upgraded. Just about sort of the go-to-market strategy and how you're marketing this now, and basically trying to attract new customers.
Yeah. So like, this is another 10-minute response, by the way. So I need to manage myself, and I'll keep it as concise as possible. We are switching from pre-launch to post-launch. The launch is we are in launch mode, so we have not launched. We've launched, but we're going to continue launching, right? So you can imagine for 9 months, we're in a phase of launching. We will use this to build excitement. We will use this to get people to buy into their excitement. And we will also, along with that, carry out a range of different marketing initiatives and campaigns. The one thing that I would say, we've just brought in a really good growth marketing member of the team. And the channels which we market will likely change or evolve, let me call it that way. And our content may no more be as corporate-y as they have been in the past, right? So like when I say that, we believe there's a certain type of business owners that exist on different channels, your Metas, your TikToks, that we are not really tapping into. So we're going to also go down that avenue.
Right. All right.
In simple form, we're gonna be advertising a bit more aggressively than we have done in the past.
That's exciting. maybe one last question for you, Sytze, and then I think we'll have to end this. So again, apologies, we haven't got to all the questions, but I guess what's exciting you over this next 6 to 12 months, and what should shareholders look forward to?
No, as I said it in my previous, what's the outlook for the next 12 months? I said, I think the good thing is the world around us in AI has a significant amount of traction. I think we're launching this at exactly at the right time. And sort of, as I said, we are prototyping a future. And as said, our customers that sign up, but also shareholders, other people, other sort of interested parties that sign up help us greatly to sort of prototype that future going forward. Rakan said it on a few things. Sort of, I go back 3 years in time. We did have training very high on our agenda. We did have induction programs very high on our agenda, and it's proven that we were right in that aspect. We still see healthcare as a fantastic opportunity to sort of. There's a lot of problems in healthcare with not enough hands at the bed for the elderly. And robotization and artificial intelligence can help greatly. So I'm convinced that we're in the right spot. I'm convinced that we are working on the right solution. And Rakan said it. We're doing it actually with pretty minimal resources. So I'm pretty proud of what the technical team with Rakan leading it has developed over the past couple of years. So yeah, I'm looking to the future with confidence. And hopefully this anyone that's listening to this webinar, sign up if you haven't done so, and please and feedback, because the feedback will shape our future.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you to all those that joined today, and for the questions. Thank you, Rakan, for walking through the demo and those slides. That was fantastic. And Sytze, thank you for your time. And again, any follow-up questions, please reach out. I'm more than happy to take those. Thank you all.
Thanks a lot.